Probably each of the Cecotec multi-cooker models I've reviewed had some extra feature, and this model is no exception. Well, first of all, it has a large 10-liter bowl, and secondly, it has heating from the top and bottom for even cooking. Here you can also divide the bowl into two separate compartments and cook two dishes at once with different settings at the same time. But there's something else. That's why this cooker is called Cecotec and Grill. We'll be discussing everything listed in this review. We'll be testing the multi-cooker by preparing dishes, so watch this video completely. There will be a lot of information. Let's get started. A big package, almost no surprises during the unboxing. This model belongs to the Cecofry&Grill Duoheat line, which features dual heating from the top and bottom and different sizes. Bowl. The functionality of the models is similar. They all have the same control panel. Our 10-liter version is the most versatile, as it allows you to divide the bowl into two separate zones with independent control. Inside there's the device itself and the instructions. And here's the inner bucket for the dishes. By the way, it has a capacity of 10 liters, so it's not small at all. You can cook for several people. So here inside, first of all, we see the grill. It's quite heavy. It's made from a decent chunk of aluminum and coated with a non-stick surface. The purpose of the standard grill in multi-cookers. This is usually a stand so that hot air can envelop the dish inside from all sides. But this lattice, so thick and heavy, is not just for nothing. In a certain sense, it's used here as a grill alternative. Well, in childish language, it is used here to give the dish those same appetizing stripes, as in multi-cookers, in a real grill during cooking. And of course, this oven has not only the standard upper heater, but also a lower heater. And speaking of heaters, there are actually two of them, one on the top and one on the bottom. And knowing this, it becomes clear why this multi-cooker is called what it is. Cecotec and Grill Duoheat. But there's also this thing included with the oven. This is a thermal divider, a partition for the bowl. It has two working positions, and one bowl can be made either divided exactly in half, so you can set up two bowls here, one for 6 liters and the other for 4 liters. Moreover, in each one, the cooking time and temperature can be adjusted separately. So in this review, we have a device that is essentially two separate fully functional devices in one casing. And notice that in this model, there's the option to watch the cooking process through a window. By the way, the interior lighting activates as needed for each side separately. We'll get to my cooking experience very soon, but for now, a few words about the controls, their convenience, and some nuances. The controls here are touch sensitive through this black glossy panel, where the setting buttons are backlit, plus there are these cute, bright colored icons. Like icons with pre-added cooking programs and more. Cecotec has recently started using this cool feature in their devices. I showed something similar in the new Cecotec capsule coffee maker in a few reviews, and it's interesting that these icons look very much like a real color display, but it's just an imitation of it. But it looks very nice and very clear. Without a single word, you can understand what this program is. The first one on the left is preheating. Next we have steak or grill fillet, potatoes, pizza, chicken, wings or thighs, grilled vegetables, desserts, dehydration or drying, fermentation, and manual mode. It's cool that, besides the basic programs like potatoes and meat, there are also low-temperature heating programs for making dried fruits and yogurts. You don't find this in every model of multi-cookers. And here are two mysterious buttons. Sync. That's a match. The sync button, or synchronization, is needed so that when you cook, for example, like me, you can cook French fries and filet at the same time. Because French fries have a longer cooking time, fillets have a shorter one, and with synchronization, the multi-cooker will conditionally wait to cook the second dish, which has a shorter time. Yes, this button is needed so that the dishes finish cooking at the same time, and both dishes will finish cooking together. And the match button simply allows you to set the temperature and cooking time simultaneously for the entire multi-oven and not separately like multi-ovens. Like when cooking two dishes together, multi-cookers are generally great for faster cooking, which personally suits me very well because I don't like long and complicated processes. Cooking, food, and who loves it? Well, some people might enjoy it as a hobby, but I don't have much time. And in this oven I've cooked many times. Fillets and steaks. The grill marks are similar to a grill, as you can see, but they are not very visible, although the dishes in any case turn out delicious and quite quickly. But I also tried something I hadn't cooked in a long time. Something a bit more complex for me. I spent some time and made strudel here. Thanks to its large capacity, I was able to fit this huge strudel here, or rather an unusually standard loaf size. Very fragrant and delicious. I also tried these types of cinnaboni, only with a simplified version of the filling. They, I'll tell you a secret, are simply cosmically delicious. They turned out very well, soaked in a sweet topping of milk and powdered sugar. And I actually cooked them in 2 batches. I ate the first one right away. They didn't even have time to cool down. I highly recommend giving them a try. Here's a simple recipe for them. But these are protein ones. Buggles. I've already cooked them once in my reviews, only this time I decided to make them using low-fat cheese. So this time, my protein bagels shouldn't even contain excess fat. This is actually a pretty interesting dish. It looks like a bun. In shape, it resembles a donut, but in essence, it is something like a cheese casserole, only not sweet, but salty. And this savory casserole can be used to make something like sandwiches, along with soft cheese and some cocktail tomatoes on the side. I'm not worried at all. And I just added my salad there, which I usually eat separately. Well, I'm still trying to make cupcakes from scratch. And I have enough. There are some problems with the aesthetics of the execution, but firstly they came out with a great lemon flavor thanks to the addition of zest, and this time I also added a glaze to them. So they may be a little crooked for me, but I don't have any issues with their taste at all. They are just out of this world delicious. Another thing I love about baking in a multi-cooker is that after cooking you don't need to do anything too difficult. It's really hard to clean the bowl and the rack. Well, after cooking vegetables or meat, especially if you don't use foil or parchment inside the container, you will have to wash both the bowl and the grill thoroughly. You might even have to soak them for a while in soapy water. The main thing is not to use any abrasive cleaning products, because the coating on both the rack and the bowl is quite sensitive and it can get damaged. So what did I like about this model during use? I like the versatility. There are actually 2 bowls here, so you can cook more, or prepare 2 dishes at the same time. I like the controls and the indicators. They're very clear. You look at the panel and immediately understand what function it is. Well, I've already told you about the additional features like the match and synchronization. I also like the thicker base, which is the rack. Maybe the effect of these stripes themselves is not as noticeable here, but this lattice itself is thicker and seems to be more durable. And, by the way, it's flat on one side, and on the other side there are these very grill strips. And you can use it to prepare various dishes, for example for meat or for baking. I also find it convenient when the oven has a window and interior lighting. And that's also here, of course. The downsides of this model, I'm not a big fan of glossy plastic. Unfortunately, the panel here is made of that material. Over time, small scratches may appear. And one more small note, that part of the touch buttons, these labels are too close together here, located, and it seems like you could accidentally press them, but in fact, during all the time I used it, I didn't encounter any unwanted clicks. Just like that. The overall impression of this model is quite positive. It is most likely suitable for those looking for a universal multi-cooker with a large bowl for cooking 2 dishes. At the same time, although no one is stopping you from using just one compartment if you don't need a large volume at the moment. By the way, the dimensions here are 40 cm in width and almost 30 cm in depth. And it's also important to mention that the maximum power of the oven is 2800 watts.